I was falsely accused of being a mistress, and on the day when the online vitriol reached its peak, my agency hastily terminated my contract and cast me out. An overwhelming torrent of abuse and curses threatened to drown me in my rented apartment. The following day, my father's call came through, his tone as perpetually impatient as ever. "Suran, have you had your fill of playing outside? If you're done, return home and prepare to inherit the family fortune." Subsequently, at the annual gathering of my former company, clad in a custom-made gown and arriving in a Rolls-Royce, I made my grand entrance as the principal investor, gracefully striding towards my ex-boyfriend and his new paramour. With a resounding thud, a termination contract was forcefully slammed onto the table by my agent, Sister Wang. "Saran, the company has been exceedingly lenient. The entire internet is disparaging you. What else do you desire? Sign the document, take this meager severance, and leave. Do not tarnish the company's reputation." I glanced at the glaring sum of 30,000 yuan on the contract, finding it utterly laughable. 3 years prior, I had been discovered by a talent scout and signed with a company named Xinghui Entertainment. Over those 3 years, I had played countless minor roles and starred in a dozen forgettable web dramas. Despite my relentless efforts, the majority of my earnings were siphoned off by the company, leaving me with barely enough to cover rent. Now, due to a baseless scandal involving a so-called mistress, they were unhesitatingly kicking me out. The scandal's focal point was the company's favored rising star, Bai Weiwei, and her clandestine boyfriend, Xin Yi, the young president of our significant partner, Xinyuan Technology. I was merely the pawn they had thrust into the spotlight to divert attention from their romance and simultaneously generate publicity. Sister Wang, I lifted my head, my eyes bloodshot and my voice hoarse, resembling sandpaper. The photos were doctored, and the hotel encounter was orchestrated by her. Even those so-called insiders leaking information were orchestrated by her team. "You all know I have been wronged." "Wronged?" Sister Wang burst into laughter, crossing her arms and looking down at me condescendingly. "In this industry, who cares whether you are wronged? People only see what they wish to see." She pointed at the appalling comments on her phone and read them to me word for word. "Who is this woman? She exudes a vibe of seduction. It's no wonder she attempted to lure our Weiwei's man. Shunyi must have lost his senses to be interested in such a person. Compared to our Weiwei, she is utterly beneath contempt. Get out of the entertainment industry. Saran, get out." "Did you hear that?" "Saran," Sister Wang's lips curled into a cruel smile. "This is public opinion. You are now the pariah everyone despises. Xinyi and Weiwei's relationship has only solidified due to your farce. Countless fans are blessing them. You are merely a stepping stone in their love story. Once used, you are to be discarded." My heart sank further. I looked towards the corner of the office where the silent figure of Xinyi sat. He had once been my boyfriend. We had been together for a year, secretly dating without ever making it public. I believed he truly loved me and appreciated my hard work and talent. Ironically, it was not until Bai Weiwei thrust a photo of us entering a hotel together in my face that I realized he had been playing both sides. The photo was taken from an awkward angle. In reality, I had merely bumped into him at the hotel entrance, and he had steadied me. Yet, under Bai Weiwei's manipulation, that photo became irrefutable evidence of my supposed midnight rendezvous with ulterior motives. At this moment, Shunyi sat there, impeccably dressed in a suit, his expression frigid. Since my arrival, he had not glanced my way once, as if I were an unwelcome presence in the air. His indifference pierced me more deeply than Sister Wang's cruelty. "Xinyi," I could no longer contain myself. Trembling, I called his name. "Do you have nothing to say?" He finally lifted his eyelids. In those deep eyes I had once adored, only cold disdain remained. "What is there to say?" He spoke, his tone sharper than the December wind. "Saran, I warned you long ago to recognize your place. Weiwei is kind and has not held this against you, but you should never have set your sights on her. I offered you opportunities and resources. It was your own greed that led you to pursue what you should not have." Fury coursed through me, and I nearly laughed aloud. "Opportunities? Resources? Are you referring to that role nearly harassed by investors, or the third female lead who was cut after 3 months of filming? Xinyi, tell me honestly, during our year together, did I ever benefit from your success? Did I ever demand you make our relationship public? I even went to the hospital alone when I fell ill to avoid burdening you. Who is truly greedy here? who enjoys the affection of two women while feigning the role of a victim. My accusations landed like pebbles thrown into a still lake, causing Shunya's expression to darken significantly. Bai Weiwei, witnessing the shift in his demeanor, immediately leaned in, appearing fragile and vulnerable, her eyes welling with tears.
Aye.
Don't be angry, it's all my fault. If it weren't for me, Saran wouldn't be so upset. She sobbed, glancing at me, her eyes brimming with triumphant malice. Saran, I know you have feelings for Ayi, but matters of the heart cannot be forced. You are still young. You will encounter someone better. Please do not hurt us any further, okay? What a delicate and understanding white lotus she portrayed. The office door was not fully closed, and numerous colleagues had gathered outside, eager to witness the spectacle. Upon hearing Bai Weiwei's words, their gazes toward me turned even more contemptuous and disdainful. How shameless! Despite Bai Weiwei's humble demeanor, she still stands her ground. To be the mistress and yet act so brazenly is truly disgraceful. It's no wonder she is being terminated. Such a person deserves to be cast out of the entertainment industry. All the voices felt like countless needles piercing my skin. I looked at the radiant couple before me, one cold and unfeeling, the other hypocritical and pretentious, and suddenly felt an overwhelming wave of revulsion. I smiled. Amidst the astonished stares of everyone, I picked up a pen and swiftly signed my name on the termination contract. Then, I tossed the contract back to Sister Wang and declared emphatically, this wretched company, this sordid place, even if you were to beg me on your knees, I would not deign to stay. With that, I straightened my back and walked out of the grand doors of Xinghui Entertainment, ignoring the scornful gazes of those around me. The moment I stepped outside the building, the afternoon sun pierced my eyes painfully, and tears finally streamed down my face unbidden. 3 years of youth, wasted.
2.
Returning to my less than 30 square meter rental, I flung myself onto the bed, burying my head beneath the covers. My phone vibrated furiously beside my pillow. Without glancing at it, I knew all too well it was the relentless media and irate netizens. I simply turned it off, allowing the darkness and silence to engulf me. I was unaware of how long I had slept until a rapid knocking at the door jolted me awake. I assumed it was the landlord come to demand rent, and I struggled to rise and open the door. To my surprise, standing there was someone I had not anticipated, Zhou Ziang. He was a well-known actor in the industry and one of my few friends. We had worked together on a web drama, where he played the second male lead and I portrayed the third female lead, forming a bond through shared struggles. Seeing my haggard appearance, his brow furrowed deeply. Saran, are you all right? He carried a large plastic bag filled with food and drinks. I'm alive, I replied, moving aside to let him in, my voice still raspy. He placed the items on my tiny dining table, surveying my modest living space, and sighed. I saw what happened online. Xinghui has also released a termination statement. He paused, anger seeping into his tone. What they did was utterly ruthless. Shen Yi and Bai Weiwei are simply inhumane. In a time when everyone else was avoiding me, hearing a voice of reason made my nose tingle, nearly bringing me to tears. It's fine. It's all in the past, I forced a smile. I didn't want to stay there anyway. What do you plan to do next? Zhou Ziang asked with concern. Should I inquire with my current company on your behalf? It may be small, but at least the boss is decent. I shook my head. Ziang, thank you, but I'm exhausted. I am truly worn out. For the past 3 years, I've been like a wind-up toy, spinning endlessly, auditioning, filming, rushing to appointments, afraid to show even a hint of slack. I once believed that with sufficient effort, I would eventually be recognized. However, reality delivered a resounding slap to my face. In this realm, diligence is the least valuable currency. Capital, connections, and influence are the shortcuts to the summit. And I possess none of these. Perhaps I am ill-suited for this circle, I whispered softly, addressing both myself and Zhou Ziang. He fell silent, aware of my temperament, stubborn and proud. Once I make a decision, it is exceedingly difficult to alter. Whatever choices you make, I will support you, he eventually said, but you cannot simply concede like this. Bai Weiwei and Shen Yi have treated you so poorly. You cannot allow them to revel in their triumph. I forced a bitter smile. What can I do? I am currently destitute and infamous. One is a rising star, and the other a business magnate. What do I have to fight against them? There will always be a way. Zhou Xiang's gaze was resolute. Evidence. If you can find proof of their treachery, you can turn the tide. Evidence? Of course, I yearn to uncover it. Yet, Bai Weiwei executes her schemes with meticulous precision. That edited photograph was skillfully manipulated, leaving almost no trace of imperfection. Those marketing accounts and insiders who accepted bribes would certainly never confess. This was a war of inequality from the very beginning. Zhou Xiang and I conversed for a long while. He continuously comforted and encouraged me, even offering his savings to help me through this difficult period. I declined his financial assistance, yet the warmth in my heart dispelled much of the chill. After bidding Zhou Xiang farewell, I sat alone in the darkness, contemplating deeply. Perhaps Zhou Xiang was right. I could accept defeat, but not in such a humiliating manner. Even if I were to depart, I would do so with my head held high and my conscience clear. I powered my device back on. A torrent of vitriolic messages and missed calls flooded in. I ignored them, instead opting to post a new update on Weibo using my account, which had already attracted hundreds of thousands of insults. There was no lengthy justification or pitiful lamentation, only an image and a succinct statement. The image depicted the termination contract I had signed with Xinhui Entertainment, with a bold red cross marking the 30,000 yuan severance. The accompanying text read, "Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Times Square, I shall hold a personal press conference to address everything. Furthermore, I find this 30,000 yuan to be beneath me." Once the Weibo post went live, it ignited a frenzy. Within mere minutes, the comment section was inundated with tens of thousands of responses. Oh, is she finally cornered? A press conference? Who does she think she is, an international superstar? Laughable. Calling 30,000 yuan filthy? If she's got the guts, don't take it. I suspect she's just trying to extort more. I can't wait for tomorrow's grand spectacle of social humiliation. I've already set up my little stool. Bai Weiwei and Mr. Shen are truly unfortunate to be entangled with such a mad dog. The cacophony of insults persisted. Yet this time I did not turn off my phone. I gazed at the venomous words, feeling an unexpected tranquility within. It is often eerily calm before the storm. And what I must do is unleash a tempest capable of obliterating everything. In the dead of night, I dialed a number I hadn't called in 3 years. The phone rang for an eternity before being answered. Hello? A commanding yet familiar voice emanated from the receiver, tinged with annoyance at the interruption. "Dad, it's me," I said softly. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then his tone softened slightly, though still laced with authority. "Surprisingly, you still remember to call me." "Suran?" "Dad." I inhaled deeply, suppressing the bitterness swelling within me. "I don't want to play anymore." The man on the other end was my father, Su Zhenbang, the chairman of the prestigious Shengshe Group. Years ago, I had rebelled against the business marriage he orchestrated for me and left home in a fit of anger. I severed all financial ties with my family, signing with Xinhui Entertainment, believing I could carve out my own destiny. How naive I was to think I could escape the identity of the Su family as eldest daughter and live authentically. In retrospect, it seems utterly ludicrous. Had enough fun? Su Zhenbang's voice betrayed no emotion, being bullied out there, feeling comfortable now. My nose tinged with sadness, tears threatening to spill. "Dad, enough with the pity party," he interrupted, his tone still firm, yet the content of his words left me momentarily speechless. "Your little boyfriend's company, what was it called? Xingyuan Technology, right? This morning, its stock plummeted by 5 points, evaporating 30 billion in market value, all due to your scandalous affair." He paused, seemingly assessing my recent endeavors. "Not too shabby. At least you didn't bring disgrace upon the Su family. Let him suffer a little financial loss. Consider it a way to vent your frustrations." I opened my mouth, struggling to find words. I had assumed he was indifferent to me, yet it appeared he was acutely aware of my every action. "And Xinhui Entertainment?" I murmured. "Just a second-rate operation," Su Zhenbang scoffed. "I've already instructed Lao Li to handle it. You'll see the results tomorrow." Lao Li was my father's trusted aide for decades, the second-in-command of Shengshe Group. "Dad, I'm holding a press conference tomorrow." I shared my plans with him. On the other end, Su Zhenbang snorted. "Childish antics. However, since you wish to play, make it a grand affair. Tomorrow at 9, Lao Li will pick you up. He will arrange the press conference, so you needn't worry about anything. Just focus on how to rub those 2 scoundrels' faces in the dirt." As the daughter of Su Zhenbang, I can be reckless and willful, but I shall never endure the slightest indignity. After hanging up, I exhaled deeply. The weight that had hung over me, perpetually dragging me down, finally found its resting place. It turned out, regardless of how far I flew, there would always be a mountain behind me, shielding me from the storm. I spent a sleepless night. At 8:50 the next morning, a black Maybach came to a halt precisely beneath my dilapidated building. The door swung open, revealing Lao Li, impeccably dressed in a sharp suit, his hair impeccably styled, standing respectfully by the car. "Miss, the chairman has sent me to escort you." The neighbors peered out, their eyes wide with astonishment at the incongruity of such a luxury vehicle amidst the surroundings, whispering amongst themselves. I paid them no heed, calmly entering the car. Inside, Lao Li presented me with a tablet. "Miss, this is what the chairman has prepared for you. Please take a look. Are you satisfied?" I accepted the tablet, the screen displaying the latest updates from Xinhui Entertainment. Breaking news! The largest shareholder of Xinhui Entertainment has changed hands. Xingshi Group has made a significant investment. Rumors suggest a complete overhaul of Xinhui Entertainment's upper management. The former CEO and several executives have been dismissed overnight. Exclusive report. The termination statement with artist Su Ran issued yesterday was a unilateral violation by the upper management and has been rejected by the new shareholders. With an internal investigation initiated, each piece of news detonated like a bomb across the internet. And the architect of this upheaval sat before me, smiling as he explained. The chairman convened an emergency meeting last night, leveraging certain connections to acquire 51% of Xinhui Entertainment at an irresistible price. Lao Li's tone was as casual as if discussing the weather. The former CEO, Mr. Zhang, who made the decision to dismiss you, along with the managing director, Ms. Wang, have been escorted out of the company. As for Miss Bai Weiwei, all her engagements and resources have been indefinitely frozen. My hands trembled slightly. This was the power of capital. In a single night, it could transform a once thriving company beyond recognition. In a single night, I managed to send a person who had once trampled me underfoot into a state of utter disarray. "Miss, this is your new identity," Li Bo remarked, handing me a gilded business card that read, "Executive President of Xingshi Group, Su Ran." My gaze lingered on the words Executive President. "My father." The chairman stated that since you have returned, it is time for you to reclaim everything that rightfully belongs to you. Li Bo chuckled. "Xinhui Entertainment is now yours." Today's press conference is not merely a chance to vindicate yourself. It also serves as an opportunity to cleanse the ranks as the new master of Xinhui. I clenched the business card tightly in my hand, a surge of long-forgotten fervor igniting within my chest. "Bai Weiwei, Shenyi, are you prepared? The grand performance is only just beginning." 4. Times Square was a sea of humanity. Journalists from nearly every mainstream media outlet in the country had gathered, their cameras and microphones forming a barricade around the press conference venue. They were eager to witness what more tricks I, the internet's scorned mistress, could possibly conjure. As I descended from the Maybach, an abrupt silence enveloped the crowd. Then, like a frenzy, the flashbulbs began to erupt. Clad in a perfectly tailored white Chanel suit, adorned with meticulous makeup and teetering on 10-centimeter heels, I exuded an undeniable aura. This appearance starkly contrasted with their preconceived image of a weeping, haggard, forsaken woman.
"Suran,
Are you convening this press conference to apologize for your actions as a mistress? What is your relationship with Mr. Shin? Is it true that you are being supported by him?" The journalists, like sharks scenting blood, thrust microphones toward my lips. A dozen bodyguards swiftly formed a protective wall, shielding me from the frenzied reporters. With unwavering composure, I proceeded to the podium under Li Bo's escort. The stage was minimalist, featuring only a single chair and a microphone, simple yet imbued with power. I took my seat, adjusted the microphone, and calmly surveyed the sea of excited, curious, and dismissive faces below. Gradually, silence descended upon the venue. Everyone awaited my words, anticipating a lament or a defense. Meanwhile, in the presidential office of Xingyuan Technology, Shen Yi was intently watching the live broadcast on a massive screen. Beside him sat Bai Weiwei, her expression fraught with anxiety. "Yi, what does she intend to do?" Bai Weiwei fretted, twisting her fingers. She wouldn't dare to speak recklessly and expose our relationship, would she? Shunya's brow furrowed, his face darkening. He had not anticipated that Su Ran would possess the audacity to pull such a stunt. Do not worry, she has no evidence, Shun Yi retorted coldly. I have already made arrangements with Xinghui. She will not be able to stir any waves. Today, she will only humiliate herself. He was confident in his judgment.
Suran.
A solitary girl with no background or connections. What could she possibly possess beyond a trifling sense of pride? However, the next moment, the words that escaped the woman's lips on screen instantly froze the confidence etched across his face. 5. First and foremost, I extend my gratitude to all the media friends for taking time out of their busy schedules to attend my personal press conference. My voice rang clear, resonating throughout the square. I understood that everyone had gathered today to hear a story, a tale of mistresses, the affluent, and betrayal. The journalists in the audience perked up, eagerly preparing to take notes. But before recounting the story, I deemed it necessary to announce a few matters. I paused, surveying the crowd, a knowing smile gracing my lips. Firstly, starting today, I, Su Ran, will officially assume the role of executive president of Xingshi Group. As soon as the words left my mouth, an uproar erupted in the venue. What? Xingshi Group? The largest conglomerate in the country? Surely, I must have misheard. Her? Executive president? What an international joke. How could an 18-line actress possibly hold such a position? The journalists exchanged incredulous glances, their faces reflecting sheer astonishment. Xinyi, seated before the screen, abruptly stood up, his eyes fixated on the display as if attempting to pierce through it. Xingshi Group? Su Ran? How could those two concepts possibly be linked? Bai Weiwei was left dumbfounded, her mouth agape, unable to utter a word. I, however, did not grant them any time to digest the revelation. Secondly, I raised my second finger. My voice soft yet distinctly clear. Last night, Xingshi Group officially completed its acquisition of a controlling stake in Xinghui Entertainment. This means that from this moment forward I, Su Ran, am also the largest shareholder of Xinghui Entertainment.
Boom.
If the first announcement was a bombshell, the second was a nuclear explosion. The entire square erupted into chaos. Is this real? Xinghui Entertainment has been acquired by Xingshi? So, she wasn't terminated from her contract. She returned as the boss? This twist is too rapid. No wonder she appeared so confident. It turns out she is the hidden princess in disguise. The tide of public opinion shifted dramatically within a minute. Those journalists who had previously condemned me now regarded me with a mix of reverence and flattery. Miss Su, is this truly the case? A bold reporter asked,
his voice trembling.
I smiled faintly, not providing a direct answer, but instead glancing at Li Bo. Understanding my cue, Li Bo stepped forward, projecting a stack of documents adorned with a bright red seal onto the large screen behind us. The equity transfer agreement, business registration changes, and the board of directors appointment letter. Black and white, irrefutable evidence. At that moment, all skepticism was silenced. Xinye's complexion shifted from shock to pallor. He finally grasped the extent of his glaring misjudgment. He had thought Su Ran was a mere rabbit he could easily manipulate, but he had underestimated her. She was a tiger lying in wait, concealing her fangs until now. Xingshi Group, the Su family. He recalled various rumors surrounding this enigmatic conglomerate. It was said that the current head of the Su family, Su Zhenbang, had only one beloved daughter who had never made a public appearance. Could it be? A preposterous, yet terrifying thought flickered through Shan Ye's mind, and he felt his breath quickening. No, it's impossible. Bai Weiwei muttered dazedly, her expression more dismal than Shan Ye's. How could she possibly be from the Su family? She was so destitute. She recalled the various humiliations she had inflicted upon Su Ran and how she had reveled in her expulsion just yesterday. A chilling dread coursed through her, surging from her toes to the crown of her head. It was over for her. She knew she was utterly finished. 6. At the press conference, after a brief moment of stunned silence, an uproar erupted that surpassed any previous commotion.
Emissy. Su.
Now that you are the new master of Xinghui, how do you view the prior mistress scandal? Miss Su, is it true that Bai Weiwei conspired against you? How will the company address her actions? Ms. Su, what is the nature of your relationship with Mr. Shin? Questions poured in one after another. Yet this time, the title had shifted from Su Rand to the respectful Ms.
Su.
Such is the reality. When one possesses sufficient power, the entire world becomes accommodating. I raised my hand, gently pressing it downward. The raucous crowd fell silent in an instant. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not rush. The story is just beginning. My gaze pierced through the camera, as if I could see the two figures on the other side of the screen, now devoid of color. What I am about to recount is a tale of a farmer and a snake. Once, there was a young girl who naively believed that hard work alone could fulfill her dreams. She concealed her lineage and entered the entertainment industry under the guise of an ordinary person. She encountered a man, a gentleman who treated her with kindness, gentleness, and consideration. The girl fell deeply in love with him, believing she had found her true love. Yet, unbeknownst to her, this man was entangled with another celebrity. A situation fraught with complexity. This starlet, consumed with jealousy and fear of losing him, devised a sinister plot. I recounted the tale, omitting names. Yet everyone present discerned whom I spoke of. The cameras in the venue fervently captured every nuance of my expression. She fabricated photographs, bribed influencers, and smeared the girl's reputation, branding her as an interloper in their romance. Overnight, the girl became the target of public disdain, heartlessly abandoned by the man she adored and the company she trusted. As I spoke, my eyes glistened with unshed tears, a moment not of performance, but of genuine emotion. The scars of the heart, once reopened, still throb with pain. In the audience, perceptive female journalists began to discreetly wipe away tears. The girl, though heartbroken and despondent, refused to be defeated, for she recalled that while she may not be a princess, she possessed a castle of her own. I shifted my tone, now resolute and fierce. Thus, the girl dried her tears and returned home to reclaim her castle. Her first act? To return and crush the serpent that had bitten her, alongside the man who had indulged the serpent. With a snap of my fingers, the large screen behind me shifted once more. This time, a high-definition video played, revealing a dressing room at Starshine Entertainment, where Bai Weiwei was gloating with her assistant. I heard her venomous words. That Su Ran is such a fool. I merely had someone Photoshop a few images and bought some trending topics, and I've ruined her. Did she really think Xinyi liked her? What a joke. Xinyi is merely toying with her. The one in his heart has always been me. Her assistant flattered her. You're brilliant, Weiwei. This move kills two birds with one stone, driving away your rival while solidifying your divine love with President Shin, skyrocketing your popularity. Bai Weiwei's laughter was sharp. Of course. Once this blows over, I'll have Yi forgive me and stage a heartfelt reconciliation. By then, my value will double. As for that Su Ran, let her bear the stigma of being the other woman for life, banished from this industry, never to rise again. The video, though brief, was laden with heavy implications. A profound silence enveloped the room. All were struck dumb by the stark contrast between Bai Weiwei's innocent facade and her malicious tongue. Was this the pure and kind Weiwei they spoke of? She was clearly a serpent, venomous and deceitful. Shortly thereafter, a series of evidential documents were displayed, including unedited images, screenshots of transactions between Weiwei's team and marketing accounts, and chat records between her assistant and paparazzi. The chain of evidence was complete and irrefutable, solidifying the reality of Bai Weiwei's treachery against me. My heavens, it turned out Su Ran had been wronged. How revolting was this Bai Weiwei? How could one's heart be so cruel? I regretted having sincerely criticized Su Ran before. Now, I wished to slap myself twice. Xinyi was a cad as well, straddling two boats while aiding the mistress in bullying the rightful partner. Disgusting. Public opinion, in that moment, turned entirely on its head. The same voices that had condemned me so fiercely now raged against Bai Weiwei and Xinyi with equal fervor. In front of the screen, Xinyi staggered, nearly losing his footing. He gazed at the ironclad evidence displayed, at Bai Weiwei's face twisted in terror, and felt the world spin around him. He had always believed Su Ran to be the cunning one, while Bai Weiwei appeared innocent and in need of protection. It dawned on him that he had been the biggest fool of all. He had been manipulated by a woman, irrevocably destroying another who might have genuinely loved him. Yi, please listen to my explanation. Bai Weiwei lunged to grasp his hand, but he violently flung her away. Get lost. Shunya's eyes were bloodshot, filled with rage. He finally understood why Xingshi Group had suddenly targeted him. This was not mere business competition. It was retribution. Retribution from Su Ran, or rather, from the formidable Su family behind her, a force he could not afford to offend. Cold sweat drenched his back in an instant. The story concluded. At the press conference, I surveyed the righteous indignation reflected in the faces below. Now, as the newly appointed chairperson of Starshine Entertainment, I announced several decisive measures. First, Starshine Entertainment would formally file a lawsuit against Bai Weiwei, holding her accountable for malicious defamation and the harm inflicted upon the company and its artists. Concurrently, I declared my intent to mobilize all resources from myself and Shengshi Group to impose an indefinite ban on Bai Weiwei throughout the industry. I hoped that from this moment forth, we would never again encounter that loathsome visage in any public setting. Second, all accounts and individuals involved in spreading rumors during this incident would receive a legal notice from Starshine Entertainment's legal department within an hour. None would escape. Third, I paused, my gaze turning frigid, and representing Shengshi Group, I announced the immediate cessation of all business collaborations with Xingyuan Technology. Furthermore, Shengshi Group would spare no expense in obliterating Xingyuan Technology's market presence until it vanished completely from existence. Each of my words struck like a hammer, resonating deeply within the hearts of all present. My resolve was ruthless, unwavering. Everyone was captivated by the powerful and unyielding aura I exuded. This was no longer the meek 18-line actress they had known. This was a queen-wielding authority and capable of decisive action. Having finished my address, I rose and bowed slightly to the cameras in attendance. My words were complete. Thank you all. Then, under the gaze of everyone, I turned and departed the press conference, leaving behind a battlefield of public opinion and 2 individuals already sentenced to their doom. As I settled into the return journey in the Maybach, I felt as though all my strength had been siphoned away. The assertiveness and calmness I had displayed on stage were merely a facade. My hands trembled slightly. Miss, you did exceptionally well, Li Bo remarked, handing me a bottle of water, his eyes filled with admiration. The chairman will surely be pleased. I took a sip of water, feeling my racing heart calm somewhat. Li Bo, was I too harsh? I asked softly. Li Bo chuckled. To show mercy to one's enemies is to be cruel to oneself. If you do not strike them down decisively today, they will have the chance to retaliate against you in the future. The business world is akin to a battlefield. There is still much for you to learn. I nodded, gazing at the rapidly receding cityscape outside the window. Indeed, I was no longer the naive Su Ran. From the moment I decided to return home, I had to learn how to be a competent heir, how to protect my castle. My phone vibrated with a new message. It was from Zhou Xiang. Your Majesty, you were absolutely stunning today. Accept my kneeling. Accompanied by a kneeling emoji. I couldn't help but smile at the message, the lingering shadows in my heart dissipating somewhat. Perhaps there still exists genuine sentiment in this world. I simply had not seen it clearly before. In the following days, the entertainment and financial circles were engulfed in the tumult stirred by my press conference. Bai Weiwei became a pariah, reviled by all. All her endorsements were terminated. Her roles in films and television were urgently recast or censored, and her Weibo account was officially banned. She faced complete social annihilation. I have heard that she is unwilling to accept her fate, yearning to seek the media's sympathy by weeping over her plight. Yet no outlet dares to take up her cause. To offend the Shengshi Group is tantamount to receiving a death sentence within the entire industry. As for Shun Yi, his situation is even more dire. Following Shengshi Group's announcement of the termination of cooperation, the stock price of Xingyuan Technology plummeted for 3 consecutive days. Several of the company's significant projects were directly seized by us, armed with superior capital and resources. Partners hastily dissolved contracts, banks began pressing for repayments, and unrest simmered within the company, leading to a wave of executive departures. In less than a week, this once thriving technological upstart was teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. Shun Yi frantically attempted to contact me. He incessantly called, sent messages, and even went to the base of Shengshi Group in a bid to confront me. However, the bodyguards appointed by Uncle Li promptly escorted him away, without ceremony. I had never laid eyes on him, nor responded to any of his messages. For I knew his words would merely consist of apologies, regret, and pleas for leniency. How absurd. When he once trampled upon me, did he ever foresee this day?
Now, it is too late to plead.
I have no time to deal with a defeated subordinate of little consequence. I am fully occupied familiarizing myself with the vast operations of Xingshi Group, engrossed in learning how to be a true president. My father, Su Jinbang, seems resolute in his desire to be a hands-off manager. After placing me in the presidential office, he whisked my mother away to travel the world. A sprawling commercial empire now rests heavily upon my shoulders. Initially, I found it difficult to adapt. The board members, those old-timers who had fought alongside my father for their fortunes, while superficially respectful, could not conceal their skepticism and distrust in their eyes. They doubted that I, a mere girl in my early 20s with no experience, could effectively govern such a vast conglomerate. At my first board meeting, a director named Zhang made a show of undermining me before everyone present. President Su, you have just taken the reins of the company and are unfamiliar with its operations. The real estate project in the west of the city is crucial to the group's strategic layout for the next decade. I believe it would be more prudent for me to continue overseeing it. His insinuation was unmistakable, a blatant display of distrust in my capabilities, an attempt to sideline me. The other directors wore expressions of detached amusement, their eyes glued to the unfolding drama. Sitting at the head of the table, I regarded this self-satisfied Director Zhang with a cold smirk. Prior to this meeting, Uncle Li had provided me with all the pertinent dossiers on the board members. I knew that Director Zhang was not above reproach, having exploited his status as an elder to siphon off a considerable amount from the West City project. I remained silent, merely sliding a document across the table towards him. Director Zhang, please take a look at this. With a puzzled expression, he picked up the document, and upon glancing at it, his face turned ashen. It was a detailed investigation report, elucidating how he had leveraged his position to subcontract the project to his relatives' companies, how he had inflated project costs, and how he had embezzled millions of public funds. Every transaction was meticulously documented, with incontrovertible evidence. Yu Director Zhang's hands began to tremble as he pointed at me, rendered speechless. I lifted my coffee cup and took a measured sip, my tone unperturbed. Director Zhang, my father often says that as one ages, it is best to retire to a peaceful life, cherishing family and enjoying the twilight years. The demands of running a company are detrimental to one's health. My voice was soft, yet every individual in the conference room heard me clearly. I offer you two choices. First, you may retire gracefully with your shares. I will feign ignorance of your misdeeds. Second, I set down my coffee cup with a crisp sound. I will submit this document to the disciplinary committee. You may spend the remainder of your life reflecting on your actions behind bars. A profound silence enveloped the room. All the directors gazed at me with a mixture of terror and disbelief. They had not anticipated that this seemingly innocuous young lady could wield such ruthless tactics. Striking first at the oldest thorn in the side. A clear warning. Cold sweat trickled down Director Zhang's forehead as he grappled with his choices, ultimately appearing utterly defeated. Slumping into his chair. I choose the first option. Excellent. I nodded. Uncle Li, please assist Director Zhang with his retirement formalities. Additionally, ensure that all materials related to the West City project are delivered to my office. I will personally oversee this project from today onward. Certainly, President Su.
Uncle Li rapidly respectfully.
I scanned the room, observing the now silent directors, and spoke with an air of indifference. Does anyone else have any objections? No one dared to utter a word. The glances directed at me had shifted from skepticism to sheer apprehension. I knew that from this moment forth, Xingshi Group had truly fallen under my command. Days passed in a flurry of activity. I absorbed knowledge about business, management, and finance like a sponge, dedicating over 16 hours a day to work, poring over more reports than I had encountered in my entire life. It was exhausting yet immensely fulfilling. The sensation of wielding control over a colossal commercial empire was far more authentic and exhilarating than being a mere celebrated star. On one particular day, after concluding a multinational video conference, I rubbed my aching temples, preparing to take a brief respite. My new secretary, a capable young woman named Xiao Chen, knocked and entered. President Su, a Mr. Zhou is here to see you. He claims to be a friend.
Zhou?
I paused, then realized it was Zhou Ziyang. Since my return, I had been so busy that I had completely forgotten about him.
Let him in.
Before long, Zhou Ziyang appeared at my office door. Upon seeing me, he momentarily froze, then broke into a broad smile. President Su, your office is far more impressive than your previous shabby rental. He jested. I rolled my eyes. Have a seat. Would you like something to drink? No, 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 he waved his hand, appearing somewhat awkward. I was just passing by and thought I would stop in to see you. I regarded him, knowing that he was not merely passing by. Since my identity had been revealed, many former friends and classmates who had not contacted me in years were scrambling to curry favor with me. Yet, Zhou Ziong was the only one who had not reached out. Had he not come today, I might have nearly forgotten that he owed me a celebration dinner. If you have something to say, just say it. No need for pleasantries with me. I poured him a glass of water. After a moment's hesitation, he retrieved a script from his bag and handed it to me. Su Ran, I know it may be a bit untimely to bring this up, but he scratched his head, looking sheepish. This is a script written by a friend of mine, and I think it's quite good. However, it has struggled to find funding. I was wondering. I took the script, noticing the title on the cover, Chasing Light. What is it about? I inquired casually. It's a story about dreams and perseverance. Zhou Ziong's eyes lit up. The protagonist is a talented musician who is quite poor and unfortunate, perpetually overlooked. Yet, he never gives up and ultimately achieves success through his own efforts, standing on the grandest stage. I flipped through the script, skimming its pages. The narrative was not particularly complex, even somewhat cliched. However, it exuded an earnestness and passion reminiscent of my former self, and indeed, of Zhou Ziong before me. Do you want me to invest? I asked.
No, no.
Zhou Ziong quickly waved his hands. That's not what I meant. I just believe the story is excellent. And if it were produced, it would surely inspire many people. I know Xingshi has a film company, so I thought I might ask for your help in reviewing it and perhaps giving it a chance. He spoke earnestly, without a hint of wanting to exploit my status. He merely wished to advocate for a friend and secure an opportunity for a remarkable work. I closed the script, gazing at him. I had kept the script. You will receive a response in 3 days. Really? That's wonderful. Zhou Ziong exclaimed, nearly leaping with excitement. Thank you, Su Ran.
No, su general.
All right, enough with the banter. I smiled. How have you been lately? Is everything going well at the company? Upon mentioning this, Zhou Ziong's expression dimmed slightly. It's just the same. Our company is small and lacks substantial resources. I am currently auditioning for a supporting male role, but the competition is fierce, and I doubt I stand a chance. Intrigued, I asked, what project? It's a new film by director Zhang, titled Beneath the Abyss, a mystery thriller. Director Zhang is one of the foremost directors in the country. Renowned for his numerous awards, his films are the coveted dreams of every actor. I tapped the table and called out to the door, Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen promptly entered. General Su, how may I assist you? Please arrange a meeting with Director Zhang Qiming and let him know that Xingshi Group wishes to discuss a collaboration. Understood.
Zhou Jiang stood by, astonished.
Su ran you. Didn't you say the competition was intense? I raised an eyebrow at him. Transforming competition into certainty is my forte. The meeting with Director Zhang Qiming proceeded smoothly. As one of the leading commercial groups in the country, Xingshi's overture was an olive branch no one would refuse. I refrained from directly mentioning Zhou Ziong's situation, instead engaging him in discussion about the script. Director Zhang, a pure creative soul, spoke passionately about cinema. After I shared several commercial insights regarding Beneath the Abyss, his gaze shifted from courtesy to admiration.
General Su.
I never expected you to be so young yet possess such profound understanding of film. Your suggestion struck a chord with me. You flatter me, I smiled. I am merely a businessman. A businessman considers return on investment first and foremost. I expressed my strong belief in the Beneath the Abyss project. Thus, Xingshi Group decided to invest 500 million in the film. 500 million? Director Zhang was astounded, nearly rising from his chair. His initial budget was only 100 million. With such an investment, he could produce an epic masterpiece. I have but a modest request. I shifted the topic. You may ask, General Su. I would comply with 10 requests. Director Zhang responded eagerly. I wish for Zhou Ziong to play the supporting male role. Director Zhang paused for a moment, then realization dawned upon him, his expression conveying understanding.
Rest assured, General Su.
This role is his by all means. Thus, the matter was settled. When I conveyed this news to Zhou Ziong, he remained silent on the phone for a full minute.
Su Ran. His voice faltered. I
don't know what to say. This kindness is overwhelming. Then repay it with your acting skills, I replied coolly. Do not disgrace me, nor betray Director Zhang's trust. I will certainly not, he pledged earnestly. After hanging up, I gazed out at the nightscape, feeling inexplicably elated. Perhaps this is the essence of wealth and power, not only to exact vengeance, but also to safeguard those one cherishes and fulfill one's aspirations. At that moment, my personal phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered, and a woman's sharp, frantic voice pierced through.
Suran.
You wretched woman. Why have you treated me this way? It was Bai Weiwei. I frowned, surprised she managed to obtain my private number. You've ruined me. You've destroyed everything. Are you satisfied? Are you happy? She shrieked hysterically. Let me tell you, Su Ran. Do not revel in your triumph. If I suffer, you shall not fare any better. I still possess something of yours. What is it? I inquired coldly. Have you forgotten? That diary you left at my place. She cackled with glee. It contains quite a bit about your sweet past with Shun Yi. Tell me, if I hand it over to the media, won't they be intrigued? The esteemed president of Xingshi Group once loved a scoundrel so abjectly, so pitifully. Ha ha ha. My heart sank. That diary was written when I had just started dating Xinyi, filled with youthful infatuations and secrets. I had forgotten it in the chaos of our quarrels and moving out, thinking it had been discarded. To my astonishment, she had kept it. What do you want? My voice turned frosty. Give me 50 million. Bai Weiwei demanded. 50 million, and I'll return the diary to you. Then vanish from your life forever. Otherwise, I will reveal to the world what you truly are. Is this a threat? You could interpret it that way. Bai Weiwei's voice dripped with vindictive pleasure. Miss Su, you are wealthy. 50 million is but a trifling sum for you. Isn't it a bargain to buy back your dignity and reputation with such a small amount? I fell into silence. Bai Weiwei assumed I was intimidated, her laughter growing more derisive. I'll give you 3 days to ponder. If I don't receive the money, you shall bear the consequences. With that, she hung up. Holding the phone, my expression gradually turned icy. Did she think that by seizing my weakness, she could turn the tables? How naive. She had no idea what kind of entity she had provoked. I neither reported her nor immediately sought to deal with Bai Weiwei. I simply asked Uncle Li to investigate her current whereabouts. The results came swiftly. After being expelled from her upscale apartment, she was now residing in a rundown building's top-floor extension, in conditions far worse than my previous rental. She had no assistants or caretakers, living in abject poverty. It seemed she was truly at her wit's end, attempting to use that diary as her last gamble. I surveyed the address, a smirk curling at my lips. Very well. I had initially considered granting her a chance, but since she was eager to court her own demise, I could not be held responsible. The following day, I ventured alone, without a bodyguard, driving a modest vehicle to her neighborhood. Following the address, I ascended the dimly lit staircase and arrived at the makeshift metal shack. I knocked on the door. It opened swiftly, revealing Bai Weiwei in cheap pajamas, her face devoid of makeup. Upon seeing me, she froze momentarily. Then a smug smile spread across her face. Oh, look who we have here. Our exalted General Su. What's this? Have you come to your senses? Here to give me money? She stepped aside, allowing me entry. The room was a chaotic mess, the air thick with the stench of instant noodles and refuse. I wrinkled my brow, halting at the threshold. Where's the diary? I asked bluntly. Where's the money? She retorted. I will pay you once I see the item. Bai Weiwei sneered, retrieving a pink diary from a dilapidated nightstand. It's my diary. A hand for a hand, she said, shaking the diary with greedy eyes. I regarded her, suddenly amused. Bai Weiwei, do you believe you have me at your mercy today? She paused, failing to grasp my implication. You think I came here to negotiate with you? My smile cooled gradually. You are mistaken. I am here to demonstrate to you what true despair entails. With that, I clapped my hands. At the staircase, 2 uniformed officers ascended. Bai Weiwei's complexion drained as she spotted the police. Why you called the police? She gazed at me in disbelief. Extortion, involving a staggering sum of 50 million, falls under the category of particularly grave offenses. I remarked coolly, Miss Bai. According to criminal law, it seems you will likely spend the remainder of your life behind bars.
No.
You cannot do this to me. Bai Weiwei finally panicked. She lunged towards me, attempting to seize me, only to be firmly restrained by the police.
Suran.
You venomous woman. You shall not die a good death. She struggled frantically, cursing me. I took the diary, which served as evidence, from the officer and approached her. Me venomous? Bai Weiwei. Did you not consider the consequences when you schemed to frame me and push me towards the abyss? I offered you a chance. Had you quietly removed yourself from my sight, I might have spared you completely. Yet, you chose to challenge my limits, before her very eyes. I methodically tore the diary page by page. The words that once chronicled my naive affection transformed into a heap of fragments, cascading at her filthy feet. Did you think these items could threaten me? You are mistaken. They are merely refuse I discarded, and you are even less than that. Bai Weiwei stared at the scattered shreds of paper, and upon meeting my cold, resolute gaze, she finally broke down. A desperate scream escaped her lips as she collapsed, being dragged away by the police. I watched her retreating figure, my heart devoid of any turmoil. Those who evoke pity must possess some wretched quality. Her current fate was a consequence of her own making. I turned and departed from that repugnant place. As I exited the corridor, sunlight bathed me anew. I inhaled deeply, feeling the air invigorated. That foolish past, along with the diary and those two individuals, would be entirely expunged from my life. Having resolved the last of Bai Weiwei's troubles, my life finally returned to its rightful course. Under my leadership, Shengshi Group flourished remarkably. Through decisive measures and my astute business acumen, I swiftly established absolute authority within the company. Those former board members who once doubted my capabilities now held me in high regard. The project in the Western District, upon my personal oversight, turned from losses to profits, becoming the greatest source of revenue growth for the group this year. I demonstrated my worth, proving that I, Su Ran, am not merely a lightweight relying on family connections. Meanwhile, director Zhang's film Beneath the Abyss officially commenced production. Zhou Xiang lived up to my expectations, showcasing his exceptional acting skills, earning continuous praise from director Zhang. After filming concluded, the project entered a rigorous post-production and promotional phase. Thanks to Shengshi Group's formidable resources and promotional prowess, Beneath the Abyss garnered significant buzz before its release, generating widespread anticipation. On the day of the premiere, I attended as a representative of the investors. On the red carpet, Zhou Xiang, clad in a sharply tailored suit, stood beside me. He was no longer the inconspicuous actor he once was. Transformed by this film, he radiated confidence and brilliance. "Thank you, Su Ran," he sincerely expressed as we exited the red carpet. "No need to thank me. This is the result of your own hard work." I adjusted his bow tie, saying, "Tonight, you are the star. Relish your well-deserved glory." He looked at me, a complex emotion swirling in his eyes. But I merely patted his shoulder and walked into the VIP area. There was little more I could do to assist him. His future path was one he must forge himself. As for my own journey, it remained long and winding. The film was a resounding triumph. The riveting plot, taut pacing, and the stellar performances of the entire cast captivated all viewers. Particularly, Zhou Xiang's portrayal of the morally ambiguous second male lead became the highlight of the film. As the credits rolled, thunderous applause erupted throughout the theater. I knew Zhou Xiang had risen to fame. Indeed, Beneath the Abyss, post-release, soared at the box office, ultimately surpassing the 30 billion mark, securing its position as the year's box office champion. Zhou Xiang, too, garnered several awards for Best Supporting Actor, entering the ranks of top-tier male stars. He became an idol for countless young women, with a promising future ahead. As the woman behind his success, I too drew the media's attention. Many speculated whether we were romantically involved. I neither confirmed nor denied these rumors. Our relationship with Zhou Xiang remained delicately balanced, friends who were not quite lovers. He was busy and I was busy. We occasionally exchanged calls to catch up, yet neither of us took a step further. Perhaps we were both awaiting the right moment. Perhaps we both relished the simplicity and purity of our current relationship. Time passed swiftly, and before I knew it, a year had elapsed. Many events transpired within this year. Xinghui Entertainment, under my sweeping reforms, underwent a remarkable transformation, becoming one of the leading management companies in the industry. Meanwhile, Xingyuan Technology, having lost the support of Shengshi and facing our comprehensive suppression, ultimately could not withstand the pressure and declared bankruptcy. Yi, once the pride of the heavens, fell from grace into the mire. I heard he sold his company, mansion, and sports car to settle debts, leaving him overwhelmed with financial burdens. He became a shell of his former self. He attempted to reach out to me on several occasions, all of which I rebuffed. The final time was on a stormy night. After a late shift, I exited the company building to find him standing in the rain, soaked to the bone beneath a tattered umbrella. Upon seeing me, his eyes lit up as he staggered towards me. My bodyguard swiftly intercepted him. Ran. He shouted my name hoarsely through the downpour. I realized my mistakes. I truly understand now. I was blinded by foolishness. I was deceived by that wretched Bai Weiwei. Can you forgive me? Let us start anew. He wept like a child, his face indistinguishable from rain or tears. I stood beneath the eaves and silently observed him. My heart was unmoved, even finding it somewhat ludicrous. Yi, I began, my voice drifting amidst the sound of the rain. Do you know what is most pitiable about you? It is not that you were blind to the people around you. It is that, even now, you failed to comprehend where you went wrong. He stared at me in confusion, not grasping my meaning. Your error lies in your arrogance. You believed the world should revolve around you, that all women should bow before you. You reveled in my sacrifices while coveting Bai Weiwei's beauty. What you sought was never love, but merely the gratification of your pitiable desire for conquest. You do not love me. You have merely grown accustomed to my kindness. You do not love Bai Weiwei. You simply relish the vanity she provides. So, stow away those cheap tears. I will not forgive you, not out of hatred, but because... I paused, enunciating the most cruel words. You are unworthy. With that, I turned my back and entered the car. In the rear-view mirror, his figure grew smaller and more indistinct in the rain. I knew that, from this moment on, he would vanish completely from my world. As the year drew to a close, the company hosted a grand annual meeting at the city's most opulent 7-star hotel. As the highest-ranking leader of the group, my attendance was essential. The event sparkled with starlight, gathering all executives, employees, and collaborating stars, directors, and partners of the group. Clad in a striking red evening gown, I navigated through the crowd with a glass of wine, engaging in lively conversation with various individuals. Having long shed my youthful naivety, I now carry myself with the composure and confidence of one who has ascended to a position of prominence. Numerous individuals approached me, raising their glasses in salute and showering me with an array of flattering remarks. I responded with a polite smile, yet a sense of weariness lingered within me. At that moment, a familiar figure caught my eye. Zhou Xiang had arrived. The moment he stepped into the room, he became the center of attention, surrounded by countless admirers eager to forge a connection with him. Despite his adept handling of the crowd, his gaze continually searched for something among the throng. Upon spotting me, his eyes brightened as he navigated through the gathering towards me. Su, it's you, he said, a familiar, cheeky smile gracing his lips.
Call me Su Ran.
I returned his smile warmly. Indeed, Su Ran. He retrieved a glass of champagne from a serveress tray and extended it toward me. Congratulations on elevating our era to new heights. And congratulations to you as well. We clinked our glasses, celebrating his recent accolade as the youngest Best Actor. Having claimed the Golden Chilean Award for his stellar performance in another film, our eyes met, and an unspoken understanding passed between us. Do you have a moment? Shall we step outside for a breath of fresh air?
He suggested.
I nodded in agreement. We traversed the bustling banquet hall and ascended to the rooftop terrace of the hotel. The winter night air felt brisk against my face, yet it invigorated my senses. The terrace was tranquil, offering a breathtaking view of the city's dazzling skyline. It's truly beautiful, Zhou Xiang mused, leaning against the railing. Indeed, I replied, momentarily lost in the myriad of lights. A year prior, I had been confined to a small rental apartment, believing my life had reached its nadir. Yet now, I stood here, wielding the pinnacle of power and wealth in the city. Life, indeed, is wondrous. Su Ran, Zhou Xiang suddenly turned to me, his expression earnest. There's something I wish to convey. My heart inexplicably skipped a beat. Go ahead. He inhaled deeply, as if summoning immense courage. I have feelings for you, not merely as a friend, but as a man for a woman. It began while we were filming that web drama together. I recognized that I was unworthy of you back then. You were so exceptional, so radiant, while I was just a struggling extra. Thus, I endeavored to improve myself, working hard in my craft, earning money, striving to become someone deserving of standing beside you. And now I have achieved that. I am an award-winning actor with my own studio. I am no longer that impoverished boy without prospects. With that, he knelt before me, producing a velvet box from his pocket. He opened it to reveal a brilliant diamond ring. Sue Ran, would you grant me the opportunity to care for you for a lifetime? His gaze was sincere and fervent. I stared at him, at the ring in his hand, momentarily at a loss for words. I had not anticipated such a declaration from him. My heart was in turmoil. I had to admit, I harbored feelings for him. He was kind, genuine, diligent, and talented. During my lowest moments, he had been the only one to extend a helping hand. Yet, affection and love are distinct. My previous failed relationship with Shun Yi had instilled in me an instinctive fear and mistrust of love. I dreaded the prospect of being hurt again, of repeating past mistakes.
Xiang, I finally managed to speak. You don't have to answer me right now.
He seemed to perceive my hesitation and stood, gently placing the ring in my palm. I understand your reservations. It's all right. I can wait until the day you are ready to believe in love again. He smiled at me, his expression as warm as the winter sun. Let's head back inside. It's cold out here. With that, he turned and walked back toward the banquet hall, leaving me standing alone on the terrace, cradling the ring that still bore his warmth, my heart a tumult of emotions. Perhaps I should dare to be brave once more? After the annual meeting, my life resumed its usual rhythm of tranquility and busyness. I chose not to return the ring to Zhou Ziang, nor did I accept his pursuit. We maintained a delicate distance, neither too close nor too far. He did not pressure me further, merely reaching out occasionally with messages and calls, showing concern for my life and sharing his joys and sorrows with me. He was like a warm ray of sunshine, illuminating my life without being intrusive, providing a sense of comfort and security. In spring, my parents returned from their travels around the world, immediately launching into a full-scale campaign to encourage me to marry. Ran, you're not getting any younger. It's time to consider personal matters, my mother said, grasping my hand earnestly. Last time I met with Aunt Wang, she mentioned her son just graduated from Oxford, tall and handsome. Should we arrange a meeting? My father chimed in, yes, that's Zhou Ziang, while he's a big star now. The acting profession is ultimately unstable. It's wiser to find someone more suitable. I felt overwhelmed. Dad, Mom, please don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. What do you know? My mother shot back. If you knew better, you wouldn't have been so badly deceived by that Shin fellow. At the mention of Shin Yi, my father's expression darkened. Don't bring that scoundrel up. If it weren't for you, Ran, I would have ensured he spent the rest of his life in prison. Looking at them, I managed a resigned smile. I understood they meant well. Fearful of my being hurt again. Dad, Mom, please rest assured. I'm grown up now. I know what I want and how to protect myself. As for matters of the heart, I believe in letting things unfold naturally. When the time is right, love will come. Seeing my resolute attitude, they refrained from further discussion. However, from that point on, my mother's attempts to set me up on blind dates never ceased. Not a day went by without her introducing me to some financial mogul or emerging political star, each one a paragon of excellence with illustrious family backgrounds. I was thoroughly exasperated. Yet unable to outright refuse my mother's goodwill, I begrudgingly went along. The results were predictable. These so-called young elites either boasted excessively about themselves, revealing their insipid personalities, or displayed an inappropriate eagerness towards my status as the president of Xingshi Group. None of them piqued my interest. In contrast, Zhou Ziang's sincerity and purity shone all the more brightly. One day, I was once again coerced by my mother to meet a Harvard-educated AI expert. Reluctant to go, I enlisted Xiao Chen to concoct an excuse, claiming a pressing matter at the company. That evening, I found myself alone in the office, buried under a mountain of paperwork. Suddenly, a torrential downpour erupted outside. Watching the flashes of lightning and hearing the thunder, I felt a wave of loneliness wash over me. Just then,
my phone rang. It was Zhou Ziang. Hello?
Still at work? His voice carried a hint of amusement. Yes, how did you know? Just a hunch. You're a workaholic. After a brief pause, he asked, it's raining outside. Do you have an umbrella?
No.
I figured as much. He chuckled. I'll wait for you at the company. I'll come pick you up. No, that's too much trouble. I can call the driver. Don't argue, just wait. With that, he hung up. Half an hour later, his car arrived punctually outside the company. He appeared at the entrance, holding a large black umbrella, rushing to meet me. The rain soaked his shoulders, yet he seemed unbothered. Let us go. I'll take you home. He effortlessly took my bag from my hands. As I settled into his car, the warmth of the heating enveloped me, accompanied by the soothing strains of music. I gazed at his profile as he drove, the contours of his face sharply defined, his expression focused. Suddenly, a wave of warmth surged through my heart. Perhaps happiness is as simple as this: having someone to shield you from the storms when you are weary. Having someone by your side when solitude envelopes you. The car arrived at my building, and the rain had ceased. The air was infused with the fresh scent of earth after the downpour. Thank you, Xiang, I said before stepping out. Why the formalities with me? He replied with a smile. I hesitated for a moment, then made a decision. From my bag, I retrieved the velvet box and opened it. Inside lay the ring, which I slipped onto my fourth finger, fitting perfectly. Zhou Xiang watched in astonishment as disbelief morphed into overwhelming joy in his eyes. Surrend you. I lifted my gaze to meet his, a genuine smile illuminating my face. Zhou Xiang, I have made my decision. I am willing to give you a chance and myself,
too.
In that moment, I noticed his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Without uttering a word, he abruptly pulled me into a tight embrace, warm and reassuring. Nestled against him, I could hear the steady thrum of his heartbeat, filling me with an unprecedented sense of security and peace. I thought to myself, this time, I have not made the wrong choice. Our romance soon became public knowledge, devoid of any pretense or sensationalism. We simply shared a photo of our intertwined hands on Weibo, captioned, "For the rest of my life, please take care of me." From the other party, the platform crashed once more, but this time, the comments overflowed with blessings rather than vitriol. Oh my gosh, the CPI ship has become a reality. Can we get a civil registry already? The Queen and the movie King. What a divine pairing. They are perfect together. Finally, this day has arrived. After all the twists and turns, it's still you. Wishing you both 99. Upon seeing the news, my parents immediately called. My mother, brimming with excitement, could barely form coherent sentences.
One.
You're with Xiang now? Oh, how wonderful. I always thought highly of that boy. He is ambitious and grounded. Far better than those so-called experts. My father, surprisingly, offered no opposition, simply grunting. That lad has good taste. Let him come over for dinner one day. I'll have to assess him personally. I knew then that they had given their blessing. The love between Zhou Xiang and I was simple and unadorned. There were no grand declarations of love, nor were there earth-shattering romantic gestures. We were akin to the most ordinary of couples. During his filming, I would visit him, bringing homemade bento boxes. When my work consumed me, he would cancel all engagements to keep me company during late nights at the office. We indulged in movies, grocery shopping, and travel, even bickering over trivial matters like who would wash the dishes. Yet, we never truly argued, for we understood the value of cherishing and accommodating one another. 2 years later, on a sunlit afternoon, we exchanged vows in a church adorned with white roses, inviting only our closest friends and family. Clad in a wedding gown designed by my father, I walked arm in arm with him towards the man who had waited for me. Standing in the light, he beamed at me with the innocence of a child. At the moment we exchanged rings, I looked at him and softly said, "Zhou Xiang, thank you. Thank you for helping me believe in love again." He gazed back, his eyes gentle as a tranquil spring. Sarand, thank you as well. Thank you for choosing to be my light. After the ceremony, we departed the church amidst the well wishes of our loved ones. As we settled into the car, Zhou Xiang suddenly remarked, "Oh, someone asked me to pass on a message to you."
Who? Shanye.
At the mention of that name, I paused, surprised. It had been ages since I had heard news of him. Zhou Xiang continued. He opened a small noodle shop in a remote city, married an ordinary woman, and has a child. I ran into him while volunteering a while back. He was quite taken aback to see me and seemed rather downcast. He asked me to tell you that he is doing well now and hopes you are too. I fell silent, feeling neither resentment nor bitterness, only a sense of relief. Perhaps this was the best conclusion. We had both found our own lives and were bearing the consequences of our choices.
What are you thinking about?
Zhou Xiang grasped my hand. I jolted back to reality and smiled at him. I was just pondering what we should have for dinner tonight. His laughter rang out as he playfully rubbed my nose. Whatever you say, my dear wife. Outside the car window, the sun shone brightly, and a gentle breeze caressed the air. Leaning against a shoulder, I gazed into the distance, confident that my future would be as clear and bright as this weather. Because my life has never depended on others' definitions. I am my own, a realm of grandeur.
The end.
Thank you for listening.
And until we meet again in the next story.